This is the engine bay of a 1970 Dodge Super Bee. Really neat car. It houses its original numbers matching 383 4-barrel 335 horse rated engine. It still encompasses the original cast iron exhaust manifolds that it was released with, cast iron intake just the way it came from the factory, and it appears to have not been modified in any way. The plug wires are high silicone, Prestolite distributor with the vacuum advance still hooked up. The wires are routed the way they would have been from Mopar back in 1970. I'm sure Donnie has new belts on it. He puts new belts on just about everything. A new alternator, you can see, has just been installed on the vehicle. It does have power steering, and it has power brakes on it also with the dual-stage master cylinder. I can see new shocks on the front of it. We'll get a better view of that once we get underneath. It has a 3-speed wiper motor, which appears to be a little bit newer. Electronic control for the alternator. High flow Mopar radiator to take care of this guy, make sure it stays nice and cool. It has a flex fan on it with the original equipment style shroud that goes with the radiator. Numbers still intact and legible on the core support, which means that this guy hasn't been in any accidents or suffered any trauma. It also agrees with the fender tag that Devin will give you some good legible pictures of, which agrees to the VIN tag, which is on the top of the dash, and he'll also have some photos of that for you too. It has a newer battery in it. The terminals are the molded on type, just the way they should be from Chrysler. The horn's still intact on this side. Washer bottle still hooked up and intact for the vehicle. And here's the biggie, a nice addition to this. You got a Ram Charger cold air system with the associated air cleaner that it came with. Nice resilient seal for it, mating up to the air cleaner base. And this is in excellent condition. Most of these things are really deteriorated or cracked or broken in places. This one is not, and these are very expensive. It's a great addition to the car, and it is functional also. It has a cable that goes up to it that you can open and close the cold air system, you know, depending on what kind of weather conditions you're in. Great looking engine compartment. Everything appears to be original, just the way it came from the factory in 1970 from Dodge, on an unmodified, from what you can see. We don't know internals, but from what you can see on the outside of this, it's just the way it was when you popped the hood open in 1970. Real overachiever here. These things were rated 335 horsepower. They certainly made beyond that. They ran very, very well for what they were. Great car, no trauma in the front, a fantastic color combination. Now we're going to go over the rest of it for you. 1970 Dodge Super Bee. We're going to give you a nice overview of this vehicle, kind of point out everything we can within the limited amount of time that we have, but we're going to show you everything we can. A little bit of a misalignment on the hood here. It needs adjusted down just a little bit. The stop's up just a little high. We can do that. The paint on this thing is, I'm going to call it better than driver quality. It's certainly much better than it was in 1970 when it was done by Dodge. It has a lot of depth to it. It doesn't have any cloudiness. It has a nice deep color to it. Of course, the scoops are the same way. Front end of the car, the gaps, so you can notice on both sides of the hood and the cowl area, everything lines up just as it should. Again, the only thing I can see a little bit of adjustment on this side of the hood to drop it down a little bit. Bumper appears to be original in the front. There's a little tiny bit of patina. You probably won't see it, but I'm being really picky about it and showing you that I believe that they are the original bumpers. They do have a little bit of age to them. They're not a foot deep chrome finish that was just done last week. Original grill areas in it. The plastic is nice and no chips or marks taken out of it. Painted argent around the surround, just the way it should be. The front of the car still has this chrome piece, well, actually aluminum lip edge on it there. No pull marks or anything on the front valance underneath it. The amber parking lights are just as clean and fresh as you'd ever hope to find. This is a nice front end of a car and a lot of originality. And again, we're talking about a car that's somewhat of a survivor here with a, from what we can see, a repaint on it, and that's pretty much it. Wheel trim moldings on it. And again, look at the gaps on this guy. Look at this. Door, the fender, to the cowl area, to the hood, spot on. Correct wiper arms and blades. And again, a nice legible VIN tag with the 6-sided rivets, just the way they came from Dodge. The area that goes up to the windshield, nice and clean and crisp, no dirt or anything on it showing any kind of age. No marks or breaks or deviations on the padded dash pad on the top of the dash too. I'm going to call this top original. It's a vinyl top on it, obviously, but it appears to be original. I don't think it's been replaced. The type of material that's on it is nice and taut, and just it just seems like it is the original top that came with it. Molding around the front windshield, really nice and clean. Tinted windshield in the front, and I'm going to call them tinted windshields on the side, or windows on the side, but I'm really not sure. No, a little tiny bit of a patina on the front of the part of the wing area, which is kind of common on these. Wipes, whiskers, just as fresh and nice and clean as you'd hope to find. Look at the window fitment here. Look at this. You can stand here with a garden hose and not get this guy wet. Gap on the door. Again, how much nicer can you possibly get it than that? Remote adjust mirror also on the outside, I forgot to mention. Door panels, molded type armrest, just the way it would be from Dodge. Also, the original VIN tag with the VIN number on it still intact on the inside of the driver's door. Carpeting nice and fresh. You can see the lumber on the dash is also real nice and clean and fresh. You know, the Dodge has the Charger type gauges that they put in at the round type instead of the rectangular type that Plymouth had used. Seats, upholstery, everything on this car is just as fresh as you'd ever hope to find. I can't see if there's any seat belts in the back. We definitely have seat belts in the front though, and steering wheel doesn't appear to have any cracks in it, but we'll see that a little bit better once we get inside the car. Again, the jambs are real nice. You can see the sill is nice and fresh and clean, and inside the door jambs, which Devin's going to show you some good photos of also, everything is fresh and clean just the way it should be. Going down the side of it, drip rail molding, there's no marks or dinghies or anything whatsoever on it. Hatch shelf is nice and clean. It's not all faded up or messed up or deteriorated in any way. Trim around the back window, same as it was on the front, nice and clean. Of course, going down the quarter panel, you can see it has our bumblebee stripe on it. Super B. Rally wheels, 15-inch rally wheels. Great addition to these cars. Everybody wants rally wheels or Kelsey wheels on them, one of the two, the way they were from the factory new in 1970. Great looking side of the car, white leather tires, rally wheels, and a phenomenal looking straight as an arrow side of this vehicle. It's just as nice as you'd hope to find. Gaps around the trunk, look at that. Same as it was on the hood, just as nice as you could hope to find. Again, I'm going to mention that the paint is better than driver quality. It is not show quality. If you're looking for a new Porsche or Ferrari, this is not it. It has little tiny imperfections in it here and there, but you really got to look to find them. But they're there. You can find imperfections in everything. Back of the car, the Dodge, the rear section of it with our Super B getting it on there. Just as fresh and clean as can be, all your red trim around it. The back bumper is the same as the front. I believe it's the original one. Has a little tiny bit of patina. I don't know if Devin can show it to you or not, but there's a little tiny bit. But it's originality. You certainly would never change it. Nice linearity with the bumper fitment in the back, just as it was in the front. Let's see what we got inside this guy. Everything's been cleaned up in the trunk. Floor pans are real nice in it. It's just a very, very nicely done car. You know, the panels in the back, there's no indication that they've ever had any trauma whatsoever to them. You can see the wheel wells are nice and fresh looking. Trunk area is nice and clean. New seal, as it was on the driver's door. We got new rubber seals on the vehicle, and everything lines up and fits and seals up as it should. Great looking car. Great looking car. Okay, passenger side, same thing. We got our Super B here, looking good, and you know, again, everything on this car just lines up as it should. Wipes, whiskers on this side are the same as the other side. It's missing a mirror on this side. If buyer wants one, we can certainly get one put on that side for you. A little bit pricey though, because that one is a remote adjust, and I think the last one I bought cost me about 160 bucks to get one. Gap on the door again, look at that. How much nicer can it be? And the window fitment, same deal. Really, really nice window fitment. Again, the same thing as the other side, a little tiny bit of patina that you're not going to be able to see, but I'm telling you it's there. Gap on the front of the door, same as it was on the other side, to the fender, to the cowl area, to the hood. We're going to go back. I forgot to open this side. Devin usually likes to get some good pictures on the interior from this side. And you can see that this mimics the driver's side. Everything is clean and fresh and lined up just as it should. No deterioration whatsoever on the seating area, the buckets, or the console. And again, all the lumber on the dash and the center console, everything is nice and fresh just the way it would be. Nice fresh carpeting in the car. The door jambs on this thing are exemplary. They're just very, very nice, just the way they should be. Everything is nicely done, nothing oversprayed. Again, the car just appears to be a repaint on the outside, original vinyl top, original front and rear bumper. This thing's about as nice a Super B as you could ever hope to find. Went over the whole car, I really didn't find any chips or marks or anything. Again, little tiny, tiny imperfections that you're not going to even, you got to look to find them. They're really so minuscule that it's not even worth mentioning. The only thing that I really found was the alignment of this hood has to be dropped down just a hair to make it fit a little bit better. Rally wheels, correct engine. It's a Super B 1970, a great color combination, phenomenal interior. This is a definite car that requires your attention if you're looking for a collector quality Mopar 1968, 970, 71. This is your guy. It's a really, really nice looking vehicle. It's available here at Hanksters in Daytona Beach, and Devin's going to give you 100 photos of this car, and we're doing a comprehensive evaluation and presentation of this vehicle as well as we can in a given amount of time. But we encourage everybody to come down in person and take a look at it. And I know that everybody can't. You're in Washington State and Oregon and Maine and who knows, you know, Hawaii. We just sent one to Hawaii. That's why we're doing these videos, and that's why Devin's putting everything up that you can possibly want to help you in your decision on buying a car from Hanksters here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Okay, this is the undercarriage of our orange 1970 Super B. Really clean car, a lot of originality under this thing. It still has its original coin lines hooked up from the transmission, 727 Mopar, to the radiator in the front. Tie rod ends are new. Spindles, ball joints all appear to be new also. Disc brakes in the front. Power brakes, remember we did mention that. A heavy duty sway bar in the front, just the way it would have come from Mopar. Again, tie rod ends and brakes, everything on this side, calipers, everything appears to be replaced and as new condition on this vehicle. Conventional starter on it, not a gear reduction. A little tiny bit of oil here. It looks like it's going to drip shortly, but it hasn't yet. And a little dampness around the pan too. So there's probably going to be a drip of oil on your floor here or there. It's a muscle car. It's going to drip. If it doesn't this year, it will next year for sure. Subframes in the front, just as clean and nice as you'd ever hope to find. One little indenture right here from where someone put a jack stand where it didn't belong. No leaks on the tail shaft of the vehicle or the speedometer drive. Again, it's you know, it's got a little dampness here and there. It's probably going to have a drip of oil on the floor at one point. It's not going to have a puddle. It's a nice, tight-looking car underneath here. Subframes, the cross-section goes over just as nice as you'd ever want on the vehicle. The floors appear to be the original floors in the vehicle. You can see your pinch wells on the side where they transition over to the rocker panels. Cast iron exhaust manifolds, these appear to be about 2.5-inch primary pipes coming off of them with a crossover, the way it would have been from Mopar in 1970. This adds a lot of horsepower and mid-range to the car. Devised by Chrysler, of course. The pipes go into a set of Flowmaster style mufflers. Torque boxes in the front of the spring shackle area are just as fresh and clean as can be. One little pull right here from where someone hooked it up to ship the vehicle. Gave it a little pull, smack with a hammer would put that right back in place. The floor pans are very nice. Another little mark right here from a jack through the years. You're going to see little marks and little indentures underneath just from usage through the years, jacking these guys up for service. Parking brakes still hooked up and functional, original Fuel lines still intact and functional, and so are the brake lines. They don't appear to have been replaced, and they're still just as clean and fresh as could be. Drum brakes in the back to complement the discs in the front. Someone's installed a set of air shocks so that you can adjust the ride height in the back of this vehicle if you so choose. Nice curvature to the leaf springs in the rear of the vehicle. Let me see, 489 casting on the rear end, 8 3/4 Mopar transmission, rear differential, which are about indestructible. They're very, very difficult to break. This thing is just as straight and clean underneath as you'd hope to find. Again, all your floors you can see are, they appear to be original. If they have been replaced, they've been so professionally done that I cannot tell. And they appear to be original to me. Drop downs in the quarters in the back still have their little double tabs on each side, indicating that they're original, and you can see all the pinch welds on them yet at the base of them. So this car appears to have all the original sheet metal for it. The gas tank, there's no marks or dings or anything in it. Could be the original, it could be a replacement, can't really tell. I'm going to call them two and a half inch out the back too. They look pretty strong and pretty good sized pipe. The exhaust extensions are the style that would be correct for a 1970 car. The floor pan in the trunk appears to be all original. I don't see anything that's disrupted at all on it. The subframes where they transition up over the rear differential are nice and clean and fresh looking. No deterioration whatsoever. The crossbar in the back that ties them together, same way. Again, looking inside the back of this bumper, I believe it is the original bumper on the car, and it doesn't appear to have ever been removed. Same as the front one. The car has a lot of originality underneath it. The car is a real straight, original style car. Fresh round of rubber on it, white leather tires. I don't know what else you'd want. This thing's a pretty darn nice Super Bee, 1970. And it's at Hangsters in Daytona Beach, so definitely give it your consideration. It's a nice car. Okay, this is the interior of our 70 orange Super Bee. And I'm just going to go over a few things, show you what works and what doesn't. Horn definitely works. Remote adjust mirror works just as it should. Let's see here. Wipers. Wipers are just beating themselves to death out there. Okay, turn signal left, functioning as it should. Turn signal right, same deal. You can see the tachometer is working. Tachometer works as it should. Clock isn't working, and we don't care. Got a little under a quarter of a tank of gas, which is about right for us. And temperature just starting to come up. We just started this guy, took it outside, and the oil pressure is just where it should be, nice and high, about 55, 60 pounds. And the amp gauge just working away about 13.8 volts. So we're good to go. Radio, let's try the radio. Radio doesn't work either. So radios and clocks, we don't care. If they work, they work. If they don't, they don't. Go for a ride and see how this guy works. A nice looking car though. Okay, we're going down the road. Let me set this thing here. No hands. Going straight as an arrow down the road. Can't go any straighter than it does. It's just a really nice straight running car. Let's try it. No hands, brakes. Again, car stops straight as an arrow, no hands, comes to a complete stop. You know, I mentioned before I didn't see any cracks in the steering wheel. Now that we're outside, there are some very fine hairline cracks. I can't get my fingernail in them, but they're there. There's about a half a dozen of them situated around the steering wheel, just very, very finite cracks in the plastic, just shrinkage through age. Just so you know that they are there. I said that there weren't at first when I looked in, but now outside I can see them. You got to really look to see them, but they're there. You can't really even feel them. Car runs straight as an arrow, drives good, runs good. Everything works in this guy except the clock and the radio. Remote control mirror on it. The glass is all nice. The interior appointments are all nice on it. Sun visor stitching, which is usually coming loose on these guys. This is the nicest you'll find. Headliner's real nice and taut and just as fresh looking as you could hope to find in one of these old cars. I'm going to turn around here and give this guy a little shot so you can hear what it runs like. runs like it should. You can see the speedometer's not jumping all over the place. It's back down to about 45 mile an hour where we should be in a 35 mile an hour zone. Really a nice car, very nice tight steering. It's very positive. Where most of these guys, you know, have a little bit of play in the steering wheel. You turn it, nothing happens. This is very responsive. If I move this thing an inch, it goes that direction. Very nice tight car. There's no rattles, no shakes, no shimmies, no squeaks, nothing. You go down the road straight as an arrow. It's just a really, really nice car. If you're in the market for a Super B or any kind of B-body Mopar, better take a look at this guy, because I don't think it's going to last too long. It's a very, very nice car. Great color combination, great engine driveline combination, numbers matching too, by the way. And I'm dying to make it here to Hangsters and take a look at this if you can. But if you can't, that's why Devin's putting all this information up on our website for you.